Hi, ma'am. Kind of want to piggyback off what the other lady just said because I have a mindset that everything always work out for me, and it has. What I've been experiencing lately is that when I want something, even like solving problems or solving a situation, it comes to me only after I meditate at night, right before I go to bed. I get an answer, but I get this. I hear a voice, and it's like I've had this voice to come to me several times throughout my life, and I want to know.
Well, what that is, you see, this is really wonderful because we've been saying all day to you today, several times, that when you are focused upon physical manifestation, that you're using your physical senses to translate it. And so you really like this physical reality because you can translate it through your eyes and ears and so forth, and often other people can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it too, so that's why you call it reality. Where the vortex is less interesting to you at first because you can only feel it. You have to feel your way in, but after you feel your way in and you allow the vortex to train your vibration upward for a while, then you begin to be able to translate with your physical senses inside the vortex, and that's what you're beginning to do. So you're actually able to translate the vibration of the vortex into something that is audible. That's what Esther's doing. In other words, Esther she meditated her way into the vortex, and then she knew what we knew. You see?
Because for me, I'm able to come up with solutions to problems that I really felt like, how am I coming up with this answer? I have no prior technical skills for this particular situation.
You don't have to.
And it comes to me.
When you have a desire that you are not resistant to, the answer flows, and it flows through the path of least resistance. And so that and you're helping us to say what we've been wanting to say, that this vortex that we are pointing at and telling you that everything you want is in there, and that the larger part of you is too, and that you want the rest of you to go in so that you can experience it, that you're helping us to explain that when you feel your way in, when you care enough about how you feel that you are in there frequently, that it begins to manifest into a reality just like this reality, this physical. In other words, the vortex will become a physical reality for you once you are practiced in the vibration of it. Don't you love knowing that?
Yeah.
And this, we don't want to make that sound like any new announcement of something that's just going to start happening. It's been happening all along. That's what the evolution of your planet is about. Look around at what's going on your planet. Look at your high-rise buildings and your fast-moving cars and your new ability to discover energy. Esther heard us say many years ago, when people were all worried about the oil crises or about using up the substances of the earth, and we were trying to convince an audience that the well-being would continue to be there, and that even if those resources were gone, that other resources would take their place. And the other day, Esther saw a documentary where they've taken sand and melted it into wafers, and they've put one component on one side and one component on the other. They look like different colors of paints, but really they're chemical combinations. And the way they play off of each other as they go through it gives energy. And there are big companies already using them, and the machines aren't much bigger than that table, and it's powering a whole FedEx facility or a whole Walmart facility, in other words. And Esther just squealed with delight because she heard us say that the resources are there. There will always be someone like you who will receive the idea and have the wherewithal to implement it. As long as there is no shortage of getting into the vortex, there will never be any shortage of your ability to satisfy each and every desire that you are able to conjure through your physical existence. It is wonderful to feel unlimited, and you really are, you see. You just lag behind a little more than you meant to as a species, because you're just a little more step 1 oriented than step 3 oriented. Step 1 is ask, and contrast helps you to do that. Step 2 is source lines it all up in the vortex. Not your work at all. Step 3 is you got to get in the vortex so that you can have clear sight, clear sound, so that you can translate it into the physical manifested world that you came here to translate it into. You're creators, you see. If you didn't intend to create in manifestation, you would have stayed here with us. You intended to have manifested creations, you see. Brilliant.
Yeah. One other question.
Yes.
How can I make that voice come to me when I'm...
Now, don't get lack-oriented, you see.
I'm not. Okay, I'm not
Yes, you
getting
are.
that.
Yes,
Okay.
you are.
Well,
How can I make it? How can I make it come? We will at least give you the benefit of finishing your question
Okay.
before we climb your tree. How can I make that? How can I get that voice to come to me? That's what you began to say.
Right. And outside of me meditating, to say when I'm in the moment of trying to figure something out.
Well, you see, that's what we meant earlier when we said the problem is a different frequency than the solution. The question is a different frequency than the answer. That's like the benefit that Esther has had in her allowing Abraham to flow through her. Jerry was the one asking the questions. So the question wasn't active in Esther, because an active question will prevent an active answer, because the frequencies are different. So that's why it's good to have, you hear Thomas Edison was famous for taking a nap.
Yeah.
He'd mess around, he'd try to figure it out, he'd try to, and finally he'd reach a place where he just couldn't go any further and he'd just chill. And during his nap, when he woke up, the idea would be there.
Yeah, that's how it is for me.
And so what we're really saying to you is step 1 and step 3 are 2 different steps. Don't try to take them at the same time. Now, more and more, the more time you spend in the vortex, then the more real time you'll be living. In other words, as we're visiting with you here, we're in the vortex. And as fast as you can feed the questions to us, we can feed the answers right back. In other words, there's no lag time because there's no variance in the vibration. We are not separated in any way from the solutions that you have been putting into the vortex. We can see your solutions and we can articulate them to you. The question is, are you in close enough proximity to them to even hear our interpretation of them? That was good.
Yeah.
So the way you make something that you like more is that you appreciate it and bask in it more. So as the ideas are coming, what did Esther receive so much dialogue from us while she's driving? In other words, because the road is pleasant and peaceful to her, and often Jerry is napping or reading or working on some or has headphones on, and so Esther is sort of silently driving and hearing, because there's nothing that's distracting her from it. Just the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more you enjoy it as it is evolving, the better you get at it. And the reason that we sort of pounced on you when you started to ask the question, anytime you're asking a question, how can I get something that I don't have? Or how can I make something that I am getting, that I do like, happen more than I'm getting it? You step outside the vortex just a little bit in that, because now you become more lack-oriented. Right. So the way to get more of something is just to bask in it, right, to just enjoy it, to just appreciate it, to contemplate it, to think about it. In other words, if you had a particular moment in time where there was particular clarity that you really enjoyed, ponder that often. Bring back the vibration of that just by remembering that moment in time. And it is our promise to you, it will become more and more and more until it will be seamless for you.
All right. Thank you.